David Halliburton, thank you so much for joining us on Desert Streaming.
Yes, Marco usually does some introduction. He usually introduces me, but I
usually say,
David
hey everybody, Marco Casanova here with...
No, he doesn't. He says with Katie Comiskey, so I only can say hi. Like I don't have anything to say. So he belittles me from the moment we start recording. But you are the guest of honor.
You are David
Halliburton.
We love you, David.
We love him.
Thank you so much.
We're so grateful
Katie,
for you.
You still rock.
Thank you so much, and I needed to hear that. And I need to hear that every day, so keep that in mind.
And David, tell us a little bit, because you're one of our greatest leaders in Living Waters there in Montana. So tell us how long you've been coordinating Living Waters alongside your beautiful wife.
Thank you. Hey, well, it's so good to be with you. Thank you, Marco and Katie. And I'm still the chief fan. We'll keep moving.
Yes, he is.
There's a little delay on my end, but we won't worry about it. But we've had the privilege of leading Living Waters at Hope Church here in beautiful Northwest Montana, a little city called Kalispell, Montana. This is our 10th year.
Wow.
And by God's grace and mercy and kindness, we've seen about 285 people go through the ministry of Living Waters here at Hope Church. And we've been leading that with my wife and I, and of course through the impact of Living Waters when we first attended the first national training in Southern California with Andy Kaminsky, and my small group leader was Dean Greer.
Oh, wow.
And how God broke into our lives that was actually 12 years ago.
Wow.
And came back to Montana and started our first Living Waters. And it's very, very real quick plug. We're going to be launching Living Waters in a city called Missoula, which is the second largest city in Montana, south of Kalispell, this fall. So we're very, very honored to have second Living Waters in the state of Montana.
Cool.
Wow.
Yeah. You say you're from a small city, but I often run into the fruit of your group. Your group is powerful, and you have people all over, and they're like, do you know the Halliburtons? I'm like, I actually do. So it is a fruitful group, truly. Probably every 6 months I meet someone who's like, yeah, I was in the Montana group. So half the population of Montana seems to have gone through it. So good job.
And even honestly, that's funny you say that, Katie, because I was in Ann Arbor, and I was made a connection, and somehow like the mayor knows about Living Waters or something. I don't know.
Montana, of Kalispell or Missoula?
Yeah, something like that. Some sort of government official. And I'm like, only David Halliburton.
Only David and Elizabeth Halliburton, who are the best representations of us because they're good looking and charming and nice.
That is so
you all are like you are the cover.
Before you know it, you're going to have Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
Joe Biden's going through it. Yeah, especially if he doesn't win. Sometime.
I know, right?
Sometime. So he could just go through
He'll
it.
need some healing.
Yeah, save men. Welcome. Welcome, Joe Biden.
Hey, maybe the Pope. Who knows?
Hey,
yeah, let's cast our nets far and wide.
I love that, David. Oh, my gosh. Well, David, thank you for joining us for this series. We're doing a series for those of you listeners who don't know for Pride Month, sort of Pride Month do's and don'ts. And so we wanted to pick David's brain a little bit and get some insight into his own experience. And we'll go between the sorry, buddy. That's all, folks. First, we're going to start with a do.
Do.
And the do is
stay close to Jesus.
So, David, how do you stay close to Jesus during this month? And the kind of the context is, well, Pride Month can probably be a time of great struggle for people who struggle with SSA, with same-sex attraction. So how do you, David, stay close to Jesus in this month?
Definitely. Thank you. Well, I don't want to have some pastoral little Christianese comment, but I think it really boils down to, and we look at Luke, the doctor who wrote the book of Luke, and he stated in Luke chapter 4, verse 42, early the next morning, Jesus went out to an isolated place. So I think it's paramount that we take time to be with the Father, to be with the Lord in a quiet time. That can be so cliche sometimes, but it's really where we're centered on the Word of God and also in His presence and getting our strength, getting our focus back to who is our strength, and that is the Lord. So it's through prayer. For me, I find that it strengthens me during this month to be in prayer and also to be centered on that quiet time where I'm getting fed and nourished.
Yeah.
Both, first of all, as a son of the Heavenly Father's, I'm his good son, I'm his good gift. And then secondly, as a husband, and then as a father, and then lastly, as a local pastor.
So David, do you usually do that like in the mornings? What's kind of your prime time of prayer?
Well, thank you, Marco. I usually get up at 4:30 and I get.
Wow.
Is this true? What do they say? Like the Pharisees put like stones around people's necks that they want to take on themselves.
I go out into my neighborhood with my megaphone at 4:30 and I just do my prayers.
Thank you. Yeah, you don't want to be doing that in secret.
I'm like, no way. Katie's like, is that true?
Like that's unsustainable.
Plus I have my prayer flags and banner.
Yes.
Of course, as a proper evangelical, you got your flags and you got your.
So one of the things that we've been married, Elizabeth and I have been married 34 years, and by no means want to be religious with this, but we've really committed to doing the best we can in the mornings. So that is where we want to launch. I feel like our sense is that we start with the Lord in the morning, and it doesn't mean, I want to encourage people to pray throughout the day.
Sure.
And it's not a set time, but it's where you are communing with the Father throughout the day. But to answer your question, we do that in the morning. And I've been trying to pray with Elizabeth at night, but usually we hit the pillow.
Yeah.
And I've been known to fall asleep quite quickly.
No, that's fair. And you're in beautiful Montana. So, do you ever go outside? Like, maybe in the morning you're not going outside, but there's something about like being in the beauty of nature and communing with God, and you have the luxury of having beautiful nature. Do you like take advantage of that at all? And is that helpful?
Yeah, good question. Well, when it warms up enough, we sit on our front porch in the mornings and have that quiet time. And then I actually took a little break just a couple of weeks ago and walked a little short trail here at one of our state parks. Yes, you can do a prayer walk. You can just walk and hang out with Jesus in the wilderness, or it could be in a state park, or it could be simply just walking around your neighborhood.
Yes, that's beautiful.
For us, we find it the best time is in the mornings, before our day starts, before our daughter gets ready for high school. By the way, our daughter graduated from high school.
Hey.
Yes.
That's so exciting.
Be empty nesters for the first time in 32 years.
So she's going off to college?
Yeah, she's going to Grand Canyon University in Phoenix, Arizona.
Oh, wow. Okay. That's
a great Christian university.
Yes.
And so we're going to be empty nesters after 32 years.
Whoa.
How fun,
That's
David.
exciting. My parents loved being empty nesters. Well, we always kind of came back. We fled the nest and then we came back at like 24. But my parents were not that, like you watch like TV shows or like reality TV, and parents are so sad when their kids go to college. And I think my parents were like, no, this is very appropriate. Please go away. You're getting a little too old for this. So it's a beautiful season. Yeah. They're like, you've been here way too long.
Changing the keys.
Right. Yeah.
Well, congratulations to your daughter, David.
That's exciting.
Awesome. So it leads us to number 2, which is a don't.
Okay, as I said before, this is not phrased in a way that's a don't. So don't put yourself in the near occasion of sin.
So, David, how do you steer clear of familiar sins that this month can amplify?
Definitely. Good question. Well, I just really want to be real and candid. That is what I've learned through a lot of mistakes, walking out of same-sex attraction in my early teens and in my early 20s, and then being addicted to pornography. I was actually not introduced. Pornography was forced upon me in my sexual abuse as a young boy. But what I have found through both failure and success is what we see our body. God designed our bodies for really 4 key elements, which is attachment, security, a sense of belonging and being heard. And for me, in that, the Father designed our brains and our bodies and our soul to be connected in attunement. And so I need to be, what I found for Elizabeth and I need to be raw, I need to be real, and I need to be very upfront with, hey, there's just something, even if there's just something off, it's not like a major temptation where like, oh my gosh, got flooded, and I'm like, I want to go view porn right now, or I'm feeling like I've got to go masturbate, or whatever. We can talk about that right on this
Yeah,
Oh, that's basically all we talk about. So.
Absolutely, yes.
you're
in good
right
company.
where you need to be.
I was going to say, okay, I won't go there. I was going to say something, I won't go there. But stay focused. So, but going back to really being real about where you're at and what you're even feeling beforehand. It could be 24 hours, it could be 48, and how the enemy just puts these little stressors, and how I have in the past acted out, or chose to act out in my brokenness, is when I took those stressors and I went to numb the pain, I went to numb the stress to avoid what was really going on in my life. So to answer your question, the do's would be very vulnerable, transparent with your wife. This is my opinion. With then a group of men, obviously for me, being a male, but you don't need guys who are going to pat you on the back and say, that's okay, bro, but I don't want to be harsh and legalistic. There's
right.
There's a point where Paul talks about, where the Bible talks about, that we are to forgive, but also we are to admonish one another to go higher. Like, no, you're a good gift, and you can continue in this cycle of deprivation, or you can decide to shift and step out of it. So to being very, very raw and real, like, hey, Elizabeth, something's off here. I need to check in with you at noon, or I'm feeling insecure, or I'm feeling aroused. God's gifted us with sexual desire, which is a beautiful gift from the Father. But how do we take that and channel it in appropriate, healthy ways? And I believe one of the key elements is very much being very honest and very forthcoming in your relationships, both with your spouse or if you're not married, with some really key, safe individuals that you can be really real with, but you're not going to get the, okay, brother, I deal with that too. And, that happens. Yes, we're walking towards wholeness, not perfectionism, but being real.
Yeah.
And a question for you, because this podcast is in some part designed for people who are strugglers themselves and maybe don't have that community. So can you just share how you, in your own life and your own circumstances, kind of found this community of men who were kind and sympathetic, but not just kind of condoning you, patting on the back? So what was kind of your process in finding and building that community?
Good question. I think for me it was the local church, but not every local church is a safe place. Sadly, the local church should be a safe place that you can come and be real, and be loved, be accepted. It's okay not to be okay. And I'm not saying. Let me just really, really be clear here. The local church should be a safe place to come with who you are. I'm not saying. I want to be really clear here. I'm not saying approving of your gay lifestyle or whatever. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying where it should be a safe place. So I had to risk. Yes. I needed to step out and risk being a pastor too, living in this isolated bubble, or even being a church leader, but needing to risk to say, you know what, if I'm going to change, if I'm going to move towards wholeness, if I want to save my marriage and literally pull my head out of the sand, then I need to shift. And then I need to look for a few men to say, hey, this is what's really going on in my life. This is where I need to be accountable. This is where I'm asking you to reach back to me, not hold my hand. I don't need I don't need another mother. I don't need another person who always just says, hey, it's going to be okay. I need somebody that's going to say, hey, how are you really dealing with your temptation? How are you really dealing with what you're walking through? So if you're out there and you're like, I don't even know where to go to, I don't even feel safe in a local church because I feel like I'm going to be judged because of my same-sex attraction, or you're living in a homosexual lifestyle. I want to say this. First of all, God loves you. He loves you, and he wants you to walk with him. And I see that in Psalms 37:7, be still in the presence of the Lord and wait patiently for him. And I just want to encourage you, if you're in a relationship like that, is to go to a local church or go to a trusted brother who loves the Lord Jesus and wants to walk with you and embrace you where you're at. Because it's a big risk to say, "Hey, I struggle with this,"
Yeah.
and that's one of the real quick promo about what I love about Cross Current
Yes.
and about Living Waters. The ministry of Living Waters is you can come, and Jesus says He's close to the brokenhearted. And I want to say as well, in Living Waters, you can be a participant and know that Jesus loves you and that God is not, He is not ashamed of your
Yes.
brokenness. He's not
Amen.
ashamed of your past. He wants to embrace your past to bring healing into your life. You look at James 5:16 where it says, paraphrasing here, is to bring your sin before brothers so you can receive prayer and healing.
Wow.
Amen. Great.
Yeah, I really like that, David, of having a place where you can just come into the light and say, I'm not doing well. I'm not struggling. I'm struggling, and I need just kind of the light of good community. So maybe those of you who are listening, you don't need to have the perfect words, but just to say, hey, I'm struggling, and I kind of want to talk about it. I have one of my accountability buddies. He always asks like probing questions after I come into the light. It's like, well, what is that like for you? Or what do you think kind of brought you to that point? Or those are just great questions. If you're receiving someone who is a fellow struggler, or just, maybe dealing with his own, lust of choice that maybe not same sex, but just to ask them good questions. Like you said, David, instead of like, oh, it's all right, you'll be okay. But more like, hey, let's talk about it. Let's invite community into that place that maybe is a little shadowed. Well, this brings us to our third question, David, which is do
have community.
Katie and I are seamless in our presentation.
We're just so well honed and professional. It's crazy that we have so few followers.
Oh, speaking of, never mind.
Oh, no, please say it. No, say it.
Should I?
Yeah.
We're looking for a new position.
Yeah, we have. Sorry, David, you're just witnessing but we're looking
job promotion,
like a content creator, marketing
manager.
Yeah, so it's in Kansas City, but you would have to live in Kansas City. So either you
in
live
person,
here, or you want to move.
Yep.
But we're a great city. We have good cost of living. We have the best football team on the planet.
Full time. This
repeating
salaried position, benefits.
Yes.
So
if interested, email me. My email is on the website. So
kcomiskey@desertstream.org.
I didn't want that to be. Please don't dox me. Wow, that was an invasion of privacy, and now I'm really uncomfortable. Hey, can you edit that out? Thank you. Hey, producer.
Who are you talking to?
Our producer.
Our producer says no one.
That's what we're looking for.
That's what we're looking for. But so do community. So David, who knows you in your struggle? I think you already alluded to this.
We preempted the question. My bad.
No, but maybe I'll pivot a little bit. I've encountered a few people recently who just don't have community, right? So I know you just mentioned, like, go to your local church, find some fellows who can walk with you. But maybe give us some encouragement for those who are really not inclined to gather and not inclined to form community, who are maybe a little bit more introverted, a little bit more sensitive, and are thinking, the last thing I want to do is go and gather some dudes and get a beer and tell them that I struggle with same-sex attraction. So can you give us some encouragement in that?
Well, that's so true. That's really powerful, because I remember back to my early 20s when I was dealing with same-sex attraction or sexual confusion, coming out of being abused for so many years as a child by a male. Where do you go to where you can feel safe and real? I would do a couple things. I would suggest is that Cross Current Online with Dean would be a great place to start.
Amen.
If you're more introverted, you can be in a community. You can be amongst a group of men going through Cross Current. The second thing would be to look at a community where you could be in therapy as well with a Christian counselor to start addressing some of these issues, to build that sense of courage or sense of that you are a good gift, that God loves you, even though that you're dealing with a sexual struggle. And then I think I believe too that especially in sexual sin, it's so shaming, and we sadly as a church has categorized it as such a sin that is so bad, right? But no, sin is sin, period. And then to be more concise in your answer your question, then maybe some of your friends that you can then ask the Father through prayer and say, Lord, would you give me the courage to kind of approach this subject and to say, hey, you don't have to come out and open up the whole closet. You
Yeah.
can start with, hey, I'm dealing with being drawn to porn, or I'm dealing with, trying to hook up with people, that I want to be able to bring that to you in a place of vulnerability and in transparency. I think that would be really key as well. And then also lastly would be the friends you're hanging out with. I still remember this from many years ago. It only takes one apple to ruin the rest of the apples in a bowl. So my point being is that if you're hanging out with some friends that are taking you the wrong direction, then you need to do a 180 and go the opposite direction and say, Lord, Lord, would you help me find those individuals that I can hang out with that are going to inspire me, going to encourage me to move closer to you and closer towards what my heart and soul really desires.
Yeah, and I think there is like a kingdom component to it, even like, well, I don't really know anyone I can tell, and I don't know if this is just gonna be my secret. But if you really pray about it and you're like, Holy Spirit, come, like I need a brother in this. Like we as DSM people, Living Waters people, we believe the Lord is gonna provide someone in your life. Like it's not magical thinking; it's the Lord giving you what you need to succeed. So I think we believe like we transform through the Holy Spirit. So even something as maybe minor as like, oh, I just need to have a friend who I can share to. It's like, pray about it. Like, be like, Lord, I need you to reveal this person. And there's so many stories. I have my own of just like this chance encounter with someone and the conversation goes a certain way. And it's like, oh yeah, let's hold each other accountable. So yeah, take that risk. Your healing journey will be full of these moments of like, Jesus, like trust in you. I need this. And we believe he will provide that for you, given that you're in the right circumstance, right? You're not just hanging out with, kind of some bad bedfellows, maybe not. But if you're really orienting yourself towards him, like we believe the Lord will we'll give you just this one person. And maybe it's Cross Current Online that starts in August. So it's ending up, but there'll be a new round in August. Maybe you meet someone there and you can do it via phone. So I think the Lord will provide, but it's a mindset we think you have to have. So come.
Right. And a couple other practical steps would be, going on the internet and at Desert Streams Living Waters and looking at different living waters that are running in churches across the country, where you can call that particular pastor or that Living Waters coordinator and say, hey, I live outside of Philly, but do you know anybody that is in Pottstown or whatever that I can connect to? I think using those resources. Secondly, I'd like to real quickly just say Psalm 73. We don't have time for me to read it, but Psalm 73, 23 through 26, yet I still belong to you. You hold my right hand. David's heart that extending and reaching for God. And then also I wanted to really encourage us, Psalms 139, 17 through 24. How precious are my thoughts towards you, O God. They outnumber the sands. And then search me, O God, and know my heart. Test me and know my anxious thoughts. Again, the Father is with you. And as you pray into that, and one last plug, I'd like to say this, what's really kept me is in the area of spiritual warfare. And that's a whole long topic, but it's a reality, in my opinion, that what we're dealing with. And John Elridge has a website called Wild at Heart, and he has a really phenomenal prayer that you can listen to or pray out loud, and it's based off of Psalms 23. But again, that's John Elridge, Wild at Heart, and it's based on the Lord's Prayer, but also putting on the full armor of God, which is so key.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah, I like what you said, Katie, about being a kingdom people, and asking the Lord, like, hey, I need like 3 friends. Can you give me 3 friends?
Yeah.
And I feel like the Lord is always going to honor that request, I've experienced that myself. I remember when I first moved to Kansas City, I didn't know a soul, and I asked the Lord for 3 friends, and he gave them to me. So take it or leave it, but I would take it and ask the Lord, be a kingdom person and say, Lord, I need your help. I need you to break through for me. Which leads us to our last question of the hour, or of the 30 minutes, which is a don't. And the don't is...
Don't be surprised by your struggle.
David, how do you live in the tension of being freed from the domination of homosexuality and still being set free? So maybe some advice, especially in moments of discouragement, self-pity, homosexual fantasy, things like that.
Right. Well, I know that the enemy definitely wants to beat me up. He wants to remind me of my past, and you haven't really changed, or why did you have that thought? And I want to go back to the Apostle Paul, and he made it very clear that between temptation and sin, being tempted is not a sin.
Yeah.
And we see the Lord Jesus being tempted for 40 days, and I think I would get hung up with, oh, I had that thought, or I had that flashback, or I had that memory from trauma or my abuse. And I thought, oh, see, there I go again. I'm the scumbucket, or I'm having these lustful thoughts. There's a real clarity of being tempted and then following through with that temptation and running with it, that Paul makes it really clear. So for me, I want not to beat myself up, but I want to be able to explore, to say, okay, Lord, what is my soul really longing for right now? And it's longing for attachment, a connection, to be attuned with my bride and also with my friends. Yes, I don't want to be some saint holy roller. Yes, there is times when, a number of years ago, when I was younger, you wake up with a sexual dream, or you think, gosh, what was that all about? Or you're being drawn by other people, and going back to going, okay, Lord, I want to pause. I want to feel the pain. I want to feel, why am I being drawn? And then say, Father, would you come now? And I'm not saying press those feelings down and try. I'm just not going to think about them, but I say to myself, Holy Spirit, why am I being stirred right now? What is the false reality that I'm pursuing that will not bring me wholeness, that will not quench my thirst? Only you can. So Lord, in that false temptation or that fantasy, or it is to say, no, Lord, I want to invite you into that. And Lord Jesus, would you come, as David said, search me, oh God. I think too, being really real with your spouse, or being real with a partner, with a friend who is a close friend, a safe close friend. Hey, I got really tempted, or I had this fantasy, or I wanted to escape in this fantasy. I think a lot of it is that, well, I'm dealing with the stressors. I'm dealing with isolation, or I'm dealing with rejection. I tried to ask this girl out for a date. I got rejected. So I'm going to go back to porn and fantasy. But sitting in that pain, or sitting in that discomfort, in that tension, inviting Jesus into that, and then being real with a close friend or your spouse.
That's great, David.
That's so good.
I remember when I was coming out of all this stuff, like in the beginning stages, and I was working with a great priest, and he's like, I was like, oh, I'm struggling so much, like. But he was like, well, what are you looking at on Instagram? And I'm like, oh yeah, I don't look at great stuff. Or you're kind of codependent with that dude that you're kind of into, like, and you keep hanging around him, and it's frustrating, and it leads you, you know what I mean? Like sometimes like we're struggling, but we don't struggle super well because we sort of maintain really crappy diets, whether it be media or relationships that are really confusing, and we haven't even told anybody about the conflict we're feeling towards a particular person, or whatever the case might be. So I would say not to become scrupulous, but to say with eyes wide open, what am I consuming? And is it contributing to my frustration this month? And maybe I need to bring that to the light with this friend, like you're saying, David, and say, hey, can you put a lock on my phone, or can you just keep me accountable how I'm using media? Right. Or I want to tell you about this friend that I have that I really appreciate, but I think I'm dipping into them a little bit, and I need to bring that to the light, just to say it, and to invite the Lord into maybe making some movements for more freedom. So.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because you're numbing out through the fantasy of that friend, or on internet, or on scrolling through Instagram. I mean, and I don't want to be a legalist here. I don't like legalism. I love personal relationship with the life-giving God.
Amen.
Shabbat. Let's go, David.
Let's go, David.
Shabbat.
That will preach.
Come on, Lord.
Come on.
But if you want to get real, get off your flipping phone.
100%.
You know what I mean? Like,
it's 100%.
Yeah.
Or get off your internet and just say, okay, this because your brain will heal if we allow it to. When we don't put junk into it, right?
Yeah. Young people today say touch grass, which means like get in contact with reality. But it's true in the sense of like, if you're on your phone all the time, even if you're watching John Eldridge if you are on your phone all day, you will get sick. It is not good. And so it's like, put your phone down, like stop watching what you're watching, and like go for a walk, like truly touch grass and like kind of orient yourself a little bit. And I mean, I do that all the time, not with same-sex attraction, but I'll just like watch nonsense on TV and then nonsense on my phone, and then I get into work being like, man, Lord, what are you doing? Like, what season am I in? It's like, no, you just ate garbage for 72 hours and now you feel sick and you're like, Lord, is this just, are you trying me? It's like, no, you made yourself sick. Don't baptize it. It's like,
the warfare. It's the warfare. It's like it's probably just what you're eating.
Yeah, and then you like go outside, you like take a walk on a nice day, and you're just like, you're listening to worship music, or you're just like being quiet, and you feel better. It's not the panacea. I'm not saying it's magic, but do what you need to do to make yourself feel a little bit better. And the phones are not that helpful in making us feel better.
So put this podcast down and
don't ever listen to this again. Just go outside
and talk to somebody, and just relate with them.
Definitely.
Yeah, community.
For real quick for me would be again to ask that question, Lord, what am I wanting to run away from?
That's so good.
Why am I wanting to run away? What am I trying to numb? What am I trying to avoid? And saying, as David said, search me, oh God, and then share that revelation. We'll share that with another person. That the Lord
amen.
shared with you.
And then that kind of allows you to, like, when you have those moments, it's not like you can never be on your phone or you can't watch movies. It's like, but you take the moment, you ask the Lord, you give time with him, maybe you talk to someone, and then you're free to watch a really good movie because you're not like, oh, I'm escaping and I'm in a dark place. So I think it really does give a life that isn't scrupulous. It's balanced. It's take a moment and then talk to someone, talk to Jesus, and then you can like appropriately engage with good, beautiful things that we love to engage with good, beautiful things.
Okay, I have a confession to make.
This is going live. This is live, Marco. So keep it PG.
Okay, I am fascinated by chefs on Instagram, and they make the coolest stuff on Instagram. But I make a promise to myself that I'm not just going to veg, I'm actually going to try it.
Oh.
And so I'm not just enjoying it in unreality, but I'm actually trying to bring it into reality. And my pants don't fit, but I am... I'm just kidding, my pants fit fine. Okay. But...
We took it as a
no,
joke.
But it's so much better than just kind of like, oh, I'm just going to watch these people cook. It's like, well, I'm going to try it.
Okay, confession.
Yeah.
I've been watching cleaning videos on Instagram, and I first did it because I was like, okay, well, I'm like on my phone too much, so I'm going to watch something that's like good. And then cleaning videos, like, oh, that's good. But then like part of me was like, well, I don't need to clean. I'm vicariously cleaning through this person. But then I started being like, no, I'm going to take their tips and I'm going to deep clean. So there's good things.
It's great. Yeah.
But you just have to make
like
it
a balance.
A balance.
So
what's your confession? What's your Instagram confession? ASMR?
Well, my confession, and I am 65, and I'm obviously a lot older than you are.
Lot older.
I'm not on Instagram, and I'm not on Facebook.
That's really
and
good
I'm not
for
a
you.
holy roller, but I just not a good place for me.
No, that's healthy.
And I don't want to be on it.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'll just be honest. I don't care what you ate at the friggin' restaurant.
Yeah,
okay?
Marco. You pretentious beep.
It's like, look at what I ate. Here's my steak. I don't give a rip.
No, okay. So David, the other day, Amber and I were kind of making a promo video for Desert Stream, and we had to go to restaurants and like take pictures of our food, and I was mortified because I'm like, no one cares that your crappy looking sandwich, like don't post that on Instagram. And I was that person, and even like holding my phone up, just like the shame I felt that people would think I would be so empty-headed as to like enjoy this. So I get it. I actually do get it. But the cleaning videos are cool. They do like sound. It's really relaxing. But don't do it. Yeah, it's not a good. Don't do it. It's like don't start doing drugs. Don't start getting on Instagram.
Right. I think our point is like live in reality, like bring it into reality.
Yeah, a little
actually
bit.
realize it, have some agency, and do something instead of just vegging out on media.
Well, we feel good. We got our confessions off our chest.
Shaba.
Usually, my Instagram, I usually get on my horse here in the picture, and I ride my horse.
I know, David. I'm like, do you own a horse?
Is that your horse?
You don't?
I wish.
Do you
Isn't
like
it
horses
beautiful?
Particularly, or
you got cut out there? I'm sorry.
oh, do you like horses?
I did. I grew up. When I was a young boy, I grew up with horses.
You
Oh
And
my
my
gosh!
son married a wonderful woman out of Wisdom, Montana, who has a 5th-generation cattle ranch, and she grew up with horses. Yeah.
Wow.
When you guys come out in Montana,
Yes, we are going to
taking
come.
you
Yes.
to the Big Hill Valley.
I would
Yeah.
love
But
that.
Wow.
But nobody. We're not inviting.
No, you
anybody else
cannot
watching
come.
this
No,
to
you're
come to
not.
Montana.
You're actually definitely. You're uninvited, and if we see you, we'll be pissed.
I didn't know if that horse was like a purchase of like at Hobby Lobby, or it had like
Wait, how dare you? That is
Some, like,
so
person-
disrespectful.
It was Hobby Lobby. It was different.
That is so shady. Oh, did you get that at Hobby Lobby? Could have been Target
or was there like a personal?
Macy's. I don't. Pier 1. Does that still exist?
Dude, we love
No,
you,
my
brother.
wife liked it. My wife liked it because it reminded her when I used to ride in when I had long hair, kind of the Fabio look.
It's getting
David.
weird, so we need to end this. I'm actually really uncomfortable, and I need to go talk to my accountability partner. So,
David.
Remember, cross current.
Yes, cross current.
current.
I'll link all this in the show
Yes.
notes, David. Also, too, your wife is lovely. Please give her our
Yes.
best, and we'll have both of you on.
yes, they're a treat.
Soon. They really are an amazing
Amazing.
couple, Living Waters through and through. So,
Yes.
David, thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
all that you do for Living Waters.
Yes, we're so grateful.
We are so grateful for your leadership. We love you,
Amen.
brother. Thank you for sharing your wisdom with us today. And yeah, we hope to see you soon.
Yes.
Great. Hey, love you too. Thank you for all that you do for the kingdom. Bless you. And
Yes.
we'll look forward to seeing you very soon. God
All
bless.
right.
Absolutely.
Bless you. Bye bye.